What do you make of Macron's pitch as well to the Indo-Pacific here, basically saying that we shouldn't have to choose between this competition with the US and China, we should carve our own path and we should cooperate more, given that we know Europe is very, hands full in terms of the Ukraine war? How does that actually look like in your view?
Well, at first, I'm not surprised. If you have concerns about China, you have some concerns about America, the logical response is to work more together. Right? Now the devil is in the details. Europe has got his hands full, will have his hands full dealing with Russia for the foreseeable future. On the other hand, European interest in the Indo-Pacific is not a new phenomenon. It has been growing in small but steady ways over, last 10 years, I would say, right? And France, of course, has always considered itself a resident power in the Indo-Pacific because it has possessions in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. I think, and you've seen various European countries send, naval detachments now and then, participate in exercises in this region. It's not going to make a huge difference in the hard strategic balance, but I think diplomatically and politically it's quite significant. For example, when you have France deploying in the South China Sea, or Germany also sending frigates through the South China Sea, it immediately shows that this is an international concern and not, as China has been insistent, only a regional concern which other countries have no role.
Let me push back on that, though. I mean, to an extent, you could also argue that what they're doing is merely signaling or performative, is it not? Because, I mean, France, Indo-Pacific power, 8,000 troops in places like New Caledonia, what are they going to do against China?
No, nothing. But I told you, all diplomacy is to a very large extent performative, okay? And I said it's not going to make much difference in the hard strategic balance, but that I think, a few countries can. Japan, South Korea, and of course, US, India, potentially. But diplomacy is, a lot of it is performance art, right? And when you have French vessels, you have German vessels, when you have British vessels moving through in and out of the South China Sea, it immediately shows that this is something of international concern.
That Europe cares, yeah.
No, not just Europe. The world is something, so much of world trade passes through the South China Sea that everybody should care, right? Which is, I think, a position that ASEAN and Singapore in general have always taken, but one that China has always resisted. Yeah. So I'm not naive, I mean, putting out more flags has a certain value in itself, as long as you don't forget flags are just flags, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
And probably more happening as well in terms of the industrial base and the private sector as well.
That was a very interesting part of Hesger's speech. And I mean, what came to my mind when I heard him say that was immediately there are a lot of countries in the region that can contribute one way or the other. He also said, if you remember, you were there, that you can do this, you can participate in various ways. I'm paraphrasing, right? Some can be overt, some can be, he didn't say covert, but you could be very public about it, you could be less public about it. So I think many countries in the region would probably have the same thought that came to my mind. There is opportunity here.
Yeah.